Alright, so recently I was online looking on CBS Sports and just reading through articles, and I found an article that was really interesting. It was predicting the best 50 players in the MLB 5 years later. This article was written in 2018, and since we're going into the 2023 season, I thought it would be fun just to take a look and just see who this guy thought would be the top 50 players in all of the MLB. So if you like this type of video, please leave a like and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, so the top 50 picked is Cody Bellinger. What a weird pick to start out with. Cody Bellinger has been quite streaky in his 2 big league seasons, but make no mistake, he's a 45 homer season waiting to happen. Add in high-end athleticism that allows him to play center field in addition to first base, and you got a dangerous hitter right there who can slot into a lineup in a number of different ways. And then he proceeds to say, do you know how old Cody Bellinger will be in 2023? 27. And before we go even further, his team prediction in 2023 is the Nationals. Don't ask me how he'll get there, but he will be there. It's pretty much what he says in the article. First of all, Cody Bellinger being on the Nationals is such a crazy thought if you want to, think about it. He would have to get traded in some type of Juan Soto deal, but for a long time, people just didn't think Juan Soto would get traded at all. It was kind of a shock when it happened at the 2022 deadline. It wasn't a long shot per se, but injuries did happen. At number 49, this guy has Gary Sanchez. Oh my God. Of course, this article was written right as 2019 began. I think it was written in January 2019, so you cannot predict Gary completely falling off a cliff. But he said that it has been 15 years since a full-time catcher that last hit 40 home runs. Javi Lopez swatted 43 for the Braves in 2003, and he put his money all on Gary Sanchez to be the next and continued to do this until 2023. He continues to say he has a very strong throwing arm and good pitching frame numbers, but it's easy to forget given the league-leading pass ball totals. So yeah, he kind of talks about how his defense is kind of weird to a sense, but he thinks the Yankees will not move on from Sanchez. He thought this in 2019. Imagine, man, imagine. And Gary Sanchez is not a top 50 player in all of baseball, let alone probably top 200. I mean, Gary can still slug, but his defense really hurt him. Number 48, we got Luis Urias. Luis Urias, kind of surprising. He claimed that he was the next Jose Altuve. Jesus. The 5'9" infielder is a hit machine and guaranteed fan favorite given his high energy style of play. Urias struggled in 12-game big league stretch last year. He hit a 208, a 264, a 354, but make no mistake, the kid can rake. His career throw 6, 397, and 405 minor league batting line is more indicative of the type of player he will become. His 2023 prediction is the Padres. Luis Urias kind of had a decent season last season. He had a 3.1 WAR in 2022, and he's not that bad, but he's nowhere near Jose Altuve. That was a big stretch in this article. At number 47, we got Brandon Rogers. Wow. I would not all be surprised to see Brandon Rogers ranked as a top 10 player come 2023. The kid is incredible, talented, and hey, Coors Field will give his numbers a superficial boost. Rogers hit a 275, a 342, a 493 with 17 homers in 95 AA games as a 20-year-old last year. He's a shortstop by trade, but Trevor Story's presence means Rogers is probably destined for second base. No matter where he plays, he'll rake. That is crazy because Trevor Story eventually went to the Red Sox and he played second base. That is really funny to think about. So oddly enough, Brandon Rogers has had probably the best season of his life. He ended up with 4.3 WAR. He won a Gold Glove. I mean, he's nowhere near a top 10 player in baseball, but hey, in 2022 he played around 137 games. He had a batting average of 266, 325, and a 408 slug. Hey, not bad. He had 13 home runs. I mean, he's nowhere near player, but hey, at least he's doing well for himself. But man, number 46, we got Bo Bichette. Y'all ready for Vlad Jr. and Bo Bichette to have a Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio thing for the next decade or so? Bo, Dante's son, hit 286, 343, and 453 with 11 home runs and 32 steals and 131 AA games as a 20-year-old in 2018. He'll be 25 in 2023 and will be entering what will likely be his 4th MLB season. I mean, Bo at 46 is not that far of a stretch. Like I'm saying, I think Bo is definitely a top 100 player in baseball. I think that's a hot take, but 46 is kind of crazy. I mean, yes, you can't predict stars and everything like that. I mean, happens, but man, pretty good for the Blue Jays. The thing he struggles with the most is just his defense. The dude can't field sometimes and it really shows, but the bat is there. I remember, I think it was in September, this dude was mashing balls in 2022. He had home runs pretty much every game for a very long time. So I think Bo at 46 is all right given the time period. I mean, his AA numbers were insane like you see here. I don't know, that's not a bad take. At 45, we got Xander Bogaerts. This is kind of crazy to think about. Let's read it. It feels like Xander Bogaerts has been around forever, but he only turned 26 in October, meaning in 2018. He put together a career best at 288, a 360, a 522 batting line with a career-high 45 doubles and a career-high 23 home runs in 2018. Bogaerts will play the entire 2023 season at age 30, and he's about to enter what would be the best seasons of his career. Now, I don't disagree with that. I think Bogaerts has a lot of promise, and I think the seasons coming will probably be his best. I think that's why the Padres took a chance on him, but the funny enough part is he predicted he would be on the Mets somehow. He said that new GM Brody Van will convince the Wilpons to spend when Bogaerts hits free agency next winter. The Mets? Imagine Bogaerts on the Mets. Ugh. I mean, I love Francisco Lindor there, but man, I would not like Bogaerts on the Mets. That is a hot take and a half. But hey, with the Wilpons, maybe it would have happened. But of course, the Wilpons are gone. Thank God for those Mets team. Now we had Nolan Arenado at 44. Fairly or unfairly, I do wonder what Nolan Arenado's numbers would look like outside Coors Field. It's funny because they're pretty good. I don't think it's simple as his road numbers are the real him, but there's no doubt Coors Field is boosting his offense to some degree. That's just baseball. Coors Field or no Coors Field, I still think Arenado is an above average hitter and an otherworldly defender at the hot corner. He'll be 32 in 2023. And the funny part is he predicted that he would be on the Rockies. Arenado will be a free agent next offseason, but Colorado has a history of paying big to keep their own. So yes, of course, we know that Colorado did give him a decent contract, and eventually he got traded to the Cardinals. So it's really funny to think about, man. And of course, he did comment on how his defense was pretty good. I mean, Nolan Arenado just came off another Gold Glove, and he was in top 5 MVP talks, in 2022. So this is a pretty good place to put Nolan Arenado. I personally would put him a little higher, but anyways, he has Jose Altuve at 43. Jose Altuve turns 29 in May, and that makes him the oldest player on our list by nearly 9 months. His bat-to-ball skills, base running ability should allow him to remain productive into his early 30s. However, the Astros will be able to use him at DH occasionally in the coming years to take it easy on his body. I don't think he'll be a truly elite player in 5 years when he'll be 33, but I do expect Altuve to be very good in 2023. He predicted he'll be on the Astros. I think that's a given. Jose Altuve will be an Astro for life in my opinion, but saying that Jose Altuve might not be that good and be slotted at DH, kind of a hot take, man. Jose Altuve is just always gonna be good, man. So at 42, he has Ahmed Rosario. Interesting. The early returns have been underwhelming. I know Ahmed Rosario had a punchless 256, a 295, a 381 with 9 home runs in his first MLB season in 2018. Development is not linear. Sometimes it takes players a year or two to find their way in the big leagues. I believe in talent and see Rosario living up to his top prospect potential before long. Ooh. He also predicted that he would be on the Marlins. He goes, "Don't ask me why, it just feels like he'll end up there." I mean, he does have a Marlins name, but he is of course on the Guardians. Ahmed Rosario above Jose Altuve and Nolan Arenado. Damn, this guy was cooking in 2018. And then he has Ozzy Alvis. Oh no, this is gonna get really bad quick, because you just have 2 really good players that have been consistent their whole career, and then you have Ahmed Rosario and Ozzy Alvis like back to back above Nolan Arenado. I can't. At 41, he has Ozzy Alvis. His production slipped in the second half, but Ozzy Alvis has a chance to be a 30-30 player who saves a buttload of runs on the middle infield with Dansby Swanson spinning his wheels. There's a pretty good chance Albies will be Atlanta's full-time shortstop come 2023, and he'll still only be 26. And of course, you can't predict injuries and stuff, but man, that'd be crazy. But anyways, they predicted he'd still be on the Braves, so hey, that's not bad. At number 40, we got Jack Flaherty. The Cardinals are a pitching factory, and this is their latest stud. He threw 151 innings with a 3.34 ERA and 182 strikeouts as a 22-year-old in 2018. Flaherty will be 27 years old in 2023, and he appears set to become one of the best pitchers in the game as he enters his prime. Of course, this can be really accurate. I still don't think he's a top 40 player in baseball, but I mean, he's not wrong. Jack has put up really good seasons when he's not injured, and generally I think he can do really well for the Cardinals next year. At 39, we got Andrew Benintendi. Of all players on this list, I feel like Andrew Benintendi has the widest range of possible outcomes. It's kind of true. I could see him becoming a top 10 player in 5 years. I could see him being a solid but unspectacular everyday player in 5 years. I mean, Andrew Benintendi Benintendi is pretty much in the middle, but the bet here is Benintendi becomes one of the game's best players come 2023, and he'll still only be 28. I mean, to a sense, he has become one of the best players in that left field position. He's a gold glover in that position. He's someone that will play defense. He just doesn't have that pop that you need, but he always provides that contact. Of course, he's not a top 10 player, but he's not an everyday player. He's pretty much in the middle. I mean, he was an all-star last season with the Royals. So I think this is not a bad choice. At 39, I don't think so, but anywhere in like a top 100 list or something, maybe even like top 150, I think Benintendi makes that, no doubt. At 38, we got Trevor Bauer. So this guy believed that in 2023, he would have one of the best seasons of his career because he would be in excellent shape because he never had hard arm problems. He also believed that Bauer's long-awaited breakout season 2018 will eventually make him a dominating starter for at least another half decade. He also predicted he would be on the Orioles. He also said Bauer says he wants to sign a series of one-year contracts as a free agent, which was true, but eventually he did get that Dodgers contract. Very interesting, the Orioles. I mean, it could still happen. I don't know. Who knows? At number 37, we got Kyle Wright. We have to squeeze a Braves pitcher into this list too. Wow. This is probably the only Braves pitcher on this list. That's crazy. I mean, of course, all the known Braves pitchers now, they weren't really in the system at the time. They have so many great pitching prospects. Kyle Wright is the best of the bunch, in my opinion, and I expect him to grab hold of a rotation spot for good by the end of the 2019 season. With a big fastball and a 2-out pitch breaking balls, Wright has a true ace potential. I mean, Kyle Wright is a really good pitcher. I can't disagree with him on that. I mean, he's not too far off, right? He does have ace potential, but of course we know that Max Fried is in that A spot. I mean, he's in number 2, but hey, that's not bad. That's generally not a bad prediction. At number 36, we got Rafael Devers. Not bad. I like this pick. He also predicted Devers would still be on the Red Sox, which is true. He says that Devers only turned 22 in October, meaning 2018, and he swatted 31 home runs in 179 career MLB games. Two things are likely to be true about Devers. He is a 26-year-old in 2023. One, his defense will have forced a move off of third base, and two, he will have at least one 40 home run season under his belt. I still think Devers is going to play third base. This guy had a hot take. He just didn't believe that Devers can play third base to a sense. I mean, Devers can play DH too, but I still think he's going to be okay at your third base position. And he almost was correct. Devers hit 38 home runs in 2021. So hey, you were close enough. Close enough. I still think Devers is a really good player. Jo Adell. Oh no. Jo Adell at 35. The most touted player in the 2017 draft, quickly emerged as one of the top prospects in the game in 2018. Jo Adell managed a 298, 355, a 543 batting line with 20 homers and reached Double-A as a 19-year-old last season. The Mike Trout he is not, but Adell looks like a future star and is a worthy heir apparent in center field. Jo Adell, no. Nah, I think we could understand why. Jurickson Profar at number 34. After shoulder injury sabotaging his 2014-15 season, Jurickson Profar finally started to look like the player everyone expected him to be in 2018. The former number 1 prospect hit 254, 338, 458 with 35 doubles and 20 homers, and he'll still be only 30 in 2023. Profar appears poised to break out as one of the game's best players in 2019. I love the A's move to get him. In 2023, his team prediction is the Red Sox. Profar is only 2 years away from free agency, and you never know. At 33, we got Aaron Nola. That's a pretty good prediction. Aaron Nola has gotten better and better each of his MLB seasons and has accumulated with a third place finish in the 2018 NL Cy Young voting. He will be 30 come 2023, and his running fastball, snapdragon curveball, and pitching smarts are more than enough to compensate any age-related velocity loss. This is not a bad prediction because, as we know, Aaron Nola just got voted for a Cy Young. He was top 4 in Cy Young voting in 2022, and in 2020 it was top 7 in Cy Young voting. So this is not a bad take. He hasn't fallen off either. He had a 6-4 season last season. Pretty good for his standards. At number 32, we got Wander Franco. Because Vlad Jr. turns 20 in March, Rays prospect Wander Franco, overwhelming favorite to be the next Juan Soto, meeting a kid who tears up the big leagues as a 19-year-old rookie. Franco hit 351, a 418, a 587 with 11 home runs and more walks than strikeouts in 61 rookie ball games last season. At age 17, he is more than 3 years younger than the average Appalachian League player. Franco turns 18 in March and is not out of question he could make his MLB debut as a 19-year-old in the middle of 2020, assuming the Rays let him. He's a budding star and he will only be 22 in 2023. Damn. That's not a bad take. Of course, we know he's not a Juan Soto per se, but he isn't that bad of a player. Javier Baez at 31. I worry that Javier Baez will never be much better than what he is right now because he rarely walks and is so undisciplined at the plate. I mean, that's still true to this day. That really limits a player's offensive ceiling. That said, Baez is a very good and wow can the man play defense. Oh god. And even if his ceiling is a 330-ish on-base percentage, Baez will be among the game's best players because he has power and saves so many runs with his glove. Oh, little did he know the drop-off Baez would have once he signed in free agency. I mean, 2022 was not his year. On the Mets, he was okay too, but he is not a top player in all of baseball. His team prediction would be the Cubs. Can't let Javi get away after Scott Boras takes Bryant to Los Angeles. All right, damn. Number 30 is Aaron Judge. I'm not sure there's a more difficult player to project going forward than Aaron Judge. He is obviously excellent. That power and those on-base skills that defense make for a wonderful all-around player. That said, Aaron Judge is listed at 6'7" and 282 pounds, and I have no idea how to forecast a player that big. Plus, 2023 will be his 32 season. The hunch here is that Judge is still a dominant power hitter come 2023, and he'll probably be a first baseman because running around the outfield at that size can't be good for the knees. He also predicted that Judge would re-sign in free agency and be a Yankee. Man, Judge being a first baseman is kind of weird to think about, but he is very long, so I get that. But yeah, he was kind of right. Judge is still a dominant hitter. I mean, at 30 is kind of crazy. Nick Senzel is above Judge. I'm just gonna skip him. Shohei Ohtani at 28. I wonder what the top 10 is gonna be, because you have Shohei Ohtani at 28 when he's a top 10 player in all of baseball. That's crazy. His is his bold prediction. Come 2023, Shohei Ohtani will either be a full-time pitcher or a full-time position player. He still won't be doing both. The smart money is on Ohtani being a full-time position player only because his elbow has already given out once, and the increased injury risk might not be too much to stomach for him going forward. Either way, Ohtani will still be a top 50 player in baseball in 5 years and on a short list of the game's most fun players. He also predicted that he would be on the Angels and said they won't let him get away after losing Trout? Huh? Is he predicting Trout will sign with someone else in free agency? But yeah, he's not wrong. He's a top 50 player in baseball, but of course we know Shohei is one of the best hitters and two-way players of all time. Of course, he's going to pitch next season and play DH. At number 27, we got Luis Severino. Oh my god, I just know this is wrong because Shohei should be above him. But he says back-to-back seasons as a top 10 pitcher have put Luis Severino firmly among the game's elite. He'll always be at a disadvantage relative to his peers because his home ballpark is so pitcher unfriendly, but he's been the hardest throwing starter in baseball the last 2 years, and his razor blade slider is allergic to bats. Severino will play the entire 2023 season at age 29. Even with some velocity loss, he has some stuff to dominate. This is still really true. Severino is an amazing pitcher, and I generally think that he might resign in free agency. At number 26, we got Victor Robles. In Juan Soto and Victor Robles, the Nationals have two of the brightest young outfielders in baseball. He put up a 288, a 348, a 525 batting line in a very limited action in 2018. In 5 years, he very well might have the career year at age 26. He's a budding star and could be a top 10 player in the game 5 years from now. I mean, he still plays baseball. He's not the best, but he does still start for the Nationals. He's played 132 games last year. I don't know much about the Nats, so I can't really speak on him, but let's go with Christian Yelich at 25. Oh my god. The reigning NL MVP is a sneaky young and will play the entire 2023 season at the age of 31. Christian Yelich has the type of all-around game that figures to age well, and as a left-handed batter, he'll be at the platoon advantage more often than not. I don't think it would be very difficult to argue Yelich still being a top 10 player in baseball in 5 years. For now, I'll rank him 25th, which is still really good. Of course, we know Yelich isn't a top 50 baseball player probably in 2023 just because injuries happen. He's kind of really fallen off a cliff, but that happens with these people when they get injured. But he predicted he would be with the Cardinals in 2023. Yelich is on an absurdly team-friendly contract that expires following the 2022 season. So 2023 will be the first year on his next contract, which will likely be outside the Brewers' price range. Oh my god, imagine Christian Yelich getting traded at the deadline. I don't think it would happen, but still. Jose Ramirez at 24? What? Then Jose Ramirez was amazing. I mean, he still is amazing today, but he was in MVP talks. Give the Guardians brass a truth serum, and I'm certain they'd tell you that they didn't even expect Jose Ramirez to be this good. He hit 270, 387, and 552 with 39 home runs last season, meaning the 2018 season, and he's one of the toughest hitters to strike out in baseball, and he plays pretty good defense no matter where the Guardians put him on the field. What a ball player Ramirez has become. He'll be 30 come 2023. He predicted that he'll stay on the Guardians and it will be the final club option year on his current team-friendly contract. At 23, he has Gleyber Torres. Baseball is so stacked with young talent right now, which is almost likely to forget how good Gleyber Torres is. He put up a 271, a 340, a 480 batting line with 24 home runs in 123 games as a 21-year-old rookie middle infielder. That is pretty darn impressive, he states. Gleyber is the rare, underhyped young Yankee. Wow. His team prediction is the Yankees. Torres and Lindor will be double play partners? Wait. He thinks we'll get Lindor in free agency, meaning the Yankees? Oh my god. Of course we know Lindor is on the Mets, but the Yankees having Lindor with Gleyber Torres is crazy. Instead, we have IKF still. I love IKF, I guess. I don't know. At 22, they got Matt Chapman. Strikeout worries went away in 2018, and Matt Chapman established himself as the top two-way players in baseball. He hit 278, 356, at 508 with 42 doubles and 24 home runs in a terrible hitter's park. Played at the top line of defense at a hot corner. Chapman will be 30 in 2023. His team prediction is the Athletics. My money's on Oakland signing Chapman to a long-term extension at some point. Of course, we know Chapman ended up with the Blue Jays, so that's wrong. He has Walker Buehler at 21. Walker Buehler showed he has a deep power arsenal, a very good command, and a belly full of guts. And as long as he stays healthy, his elbow ligament has already given out once. But Buehler is still the obvious appearance of Clayton Kershaw as the Dodgers ace. Buehler will be 28 on opening day of 2023. He predicted he'll still be with the Dodgers. Of course, we know Walker Buehler will not pitch next year, but hopefully he does eventually. They have Chris Bryant at number 20. Chris Bryant was difficult to put on this list. Last year's shoulder trouble, an underwhelming but still very good 272, 374, 460 batting line created some uncertainty going forward. Bryant has the MVP caliber performer in 2016 to 17. The guess here is he'll be again among one of the best players in 2023 when he'll be 31. He predicted he'll be on the Dodgers. Sorry, Cubs fan. Of course, we know the Rockies went out and paid for him, which was really weird because we did not expect him to be on the Rockies at all. But hey man, who knows? Maybe Chris Bryant will come back after his injury and be a really good player. This prediction could be correct. At number 19, we have Eloy Jimenez. He does still be on the White Sox, but as a young kid, he has batted a 337, a 384, a 577 with 22 home runs in 108 games between AA and AAA as a 21-year-old. And when a player did that back in the day, he received a September call-up as a reward to get his feet wet. And he assumes that he'll get the full-time position come 2019's MLB season. Eloy Jimenez is not a top 19 player in baseball, but he's still decent. At number 18, you put Forrest Whitley. He claimed him as one of the best Astros pitching prospects to date and that he expected him to be really good in the 2023 season. Oh man. Number 17, he has Mackenzie Gore. For more money, Mackenzie Gore is the best pitching prospect in baseball. At number 16, they put Blake Snell. Second pitcher on our list is the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner. I mean, Blake Snell was a monster in those couple of years. He predicted that he'll be on the Giants. Snell is 4 years away from free agency, but the Cy Young win will boost his arbitration salaries considerably. The bet here is Tampa trades him at some point in the next few years rather than sign him to a big money long-term contract. I mean, of course he did get traded, and of course that team was the Padres, so he wasn't that off, I guess, per se. Now, number 15, he has Adley Rutschman. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, you know, Adley Rutschman is not a top 15 player in baseball, but he's like the second best catcher in all of baseball, so I guess that counts. Props to you. He goes, who? Adley Rutschman? That's who. The Oregon State catcher, the consensus #1 prospect in 2019 amateur draft. He's the most locked in #1 pick since Garrett Cole in 2011, maybe even since Bryce Harper in 2010. Rutschman authored a 408, a 505, a 628 batting line with a 34 extra base hits and more walks than strikeouts, 53 more walks than 40 strikeouts in 67 games as a sophomore in 2018. He is also regarded as a Gold Glove caliber defender behind the plate. There's some serious Buster Posey potential here, except Rutschman can switch hip. The jump to MLB can be tough on young catchers. Their learning curve is steep, but the bet here is Rutschman will master the big leagues quickly and emerge as the game's top catcher within 5 years. He says that the Orioles will get him just because they hold the #1 pick in the 2019 draft, and he isn't wrong. Adley Rutschman is one of the best players in all of baseball, so props to you, man. At number 14, he has Corey Seager. Like Correa, he states that Seager will probably be playing a position other than shortstop in 2023 because of his Tommy John surgery, and also he's just so darn big at 6'4" and 220 pounds. There's more than enough offensive ability here for a prime age Seager at age 29 in 2023 to rank among the game's elite players. He stated that he'll still be with the Dodgers, which of course we know isn't true. At 13, he has Alex Bregman. Hey, that's not a bad pick. They thought that because Alex Bregman hit a 286, a 394 at 532 with 51 doubles and 31 homers and more walks and strikeouts in 2018, it would be spectacular enough that the Astros will move him back to shortstop, his natural position, after Correa bolts for the Angels. Oh my god. They thought Correa would go to the Angels? That's crazy. At number 12, we got Mookie Betts. Oh my god. Okay, here we're getting to the big boys now. There was a legit challenger to the Trout for the title, the best player in baseball, in 2018, and that player was Mookie Betts. Betts will be 30 come 2023, and he's bound to lose some of his immense defensive value between now and then. There's still plenty of all-around excellence here to be one of the best players in the world. That's crazy to think that he thought his defense would fall off, because his defense has only gotten better. In 2022, Mookie Betts' defense was insane, man. It was Gold Glove caliber. At number 11, he has Royce Lewis. The #1 pick in the 2017 draft looks even better than expected already. Royce Lewis hit a 292, a 352, a 451, a 14 homers and 28 bases, and 28 steals between 2 Class A levels as a 19-year-old in 2018. He'll be a 24-year-old middle of the order force for the Twins and a pretty good defensive shortstop, maybe even a center fielder. Of course, we know Royce Lewis isn't that, but hey, that is really weird to think about. At number 10, we got Carlos Correa, the first player on this list that I worried I ranked too low. A year ago at this time, Carlos Correa would have been in conversation for the #1 spot, but back trouble took a bite out of his production in 2018. There's no way a healthy Correa hits 239, 323, or 405 like he did in 2018, right? Right. The hunch here is Correa is playing another position come 2023, likely third base, only because he's so big and likely to lose some ranges as he ages. Still, Correa will be only 28 in 2023. His team prediction is the Angels. Someone has to take the money they're going to give Trout. So this list doesn't have Mike Trout going to the Angels and signing that long contract. That's kind of crazy to think about. At number 90 is Manny Machado. Eventually, some team will come to their senses and realize talent should be valued over hustle and give Manny Machado a monster contract. Machado is one of only 4 players hit 30+ home runs in each of the last 4 seasons than the other 3 guys. Nelson Cruz, Edwin Encarnacion, and Nolan Arenado are all only be 30 in 2023, and that's a prime year, baby. I mean, he's not wrong. Manny Machado has been one of the best players in baseball for the last couple years. He's arguably was top 3 in MVP voting last season, and he's always going to be good. His team prediction was the Phillies. Wow. He thought he'd be on the Phillies, man. At number 8, he has Fernando Tatis Jr. There are a lot of good juniors in baseball today. Vlad Jr., Acuna Jr., and now Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm not sure Tatis will ever hit 2 grand slams in one inning like his father, but the kids who hit 288, 355, and 507 with 16 home runs, 16 steals in 88 AA games as a 19-year-old like Tatis did in 2018 tend to do great things. He'll debut late in 2019 and be the centerpiece in San Diego's powerhouse in 5 years. It has been foretold. I mean, props to him for getting this right, because of course we know Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the cornerstones of that Padres lineup. We know last year it was a big issue just because of the pet thing and also getting injured, but when he comes back for that Padres squad, expect Tatis to do really well, and his team prediction of course was the Padres. At number 7, Noah Syndergaard. Oh my god, I'll drink to that, bro. Pitchers are hard to place on this list because there's so much injury risk. Noah Syndergaard gets the top pitching spot on this list because the guy brings 4 legitimate swing and miss pitches to the mound every 5th day, and since I'm being optimistic and projecting good health for everyone, Syndergaard's 2017-18 injuries woes can be overlooked. He'll still only be when 2023 rolls around. He predicted he would be on the Rangers. That is crazy. This is the last pitcher on this list. We're missing Jacob deGrom. We're missing Garrett Cole, Zach Wheeler. We're missing just so many people, bro. There's no way Noah Syndergaard is the best pitcher in his eyes 5 years later. At number 6, he has Juan Soto as being the next best hitter. Juan Soto is only 142 days older than Vlad Jr., and he hit a 292, a 406, a 517 with 22 home runs and 79 walks in 2018. This is crazy pants in his terms. Soto had the most walks, the highest on-base percentage, and the second most home runs ever for a teenager last season. He'll be 25 years old in 2023, and he predicted he'll still be with the Nats. At number 5, he has Francisco Lindor. I feel like we don't talk enough about Francisco Lindor being a switch-hitting Gold Glove caliber shortstop who will hit 38 home runs in 2018. Lindor is getting better each year, and in 5 years he'll be only 29, which means he would still be a very good defensive shortstop. He also predicted they would be with the Yankees. That is crazy to think about. Imagine if we had Francisco Lindor at our shortstop instead of freaking IKF, bro. Number 4 is Bryce Harper. This is probably one of his best takes so far. Bryce Harper at number 4 makes sense. He suspects that Bryce Harper will live up to his prospect status and have another 10-war season, a 50 home run season at some point in his year. Of course, before his MVP season in 2021, but still fun to think about how he predicted that he would be with the Yankees. He says he bets he suits up for another team between now and then, and that he will be a Yankee. I think at this time he was still part of the Nationals. And number 3 is Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr. came into the 2018 season as the consensus number 1 prospect in baseball, and he lived up to his hype, hitting a 293, a 366, a 552 with 26 home runs and 16 steals in 111 games. He did that as a 20-year-old too. In 5 years, he'll be a 25-year-old with more knowledge of the league and a better understanding of how pitchers want to attack him. There's an incredible amount of young talent in the game today, and Acuna is among the very best. Wow, that's a hot take. Vladdy Jr. at 2. Okay, now we're getting to the end. We're missing Mike Trout, so of course Mike Trout's going to be number 1. Wait, before we get to Mike Trout, let's talk about Vladdy, right? He is comparing Vladdy Guerrero to Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera. He has that cloth, and he has the power potential to be like them. He says in 5 years he will be 24 and he'll be challenging for MVP trophies even without much defensive value, which is kind of true. Vladdy Jr. had an off season in 2022, but he was competing for MVPs in 2021 and years prior. So hey, props to you, man. You got that one correct. But he has Mike Trout at number 1, which makes sense because Mike Trout is one of the greatest players of all time. He's the GOAT of our generation. He's the best ball player in baseball and has been since 2012. He also predicted that Trout is only getting better. Trout set new career highs on an on-base percentage, an OPS of 1088 and an OPS plus of 199 in 2018. There's no signs of slowing down, and I'm sticking with Trout as baseball's best player in 5 years. He also predicted that he would be on the Phillies. He thought that the Phillies would buy him out. He said, the 2023 team prediction will be the Phillies. Sorry, Angels fans, Trout won't be able to pass up the opportunity to play close at home when he hits free agency in 2 years. Shout out to you, Mike Axisa, for writing this article in 2019. Bro, no way. I mean, Mike Trout makes sense, right? But the rest, we're missing Jacob deGrom on this list. We're missing so many pitchers and batters I can't even think of right now because it's just shocking to think about. But he did his best, and hey, if you guys want to check the article out, I'll put it in the comment section or something. Let me know how accurate was this list. Did you guys like this type of video? Let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, have a great night or day, whenever you're watching this. Have a good one. Bye.